Yo, what's going on, your boy Noobs here with the brand new guys today, and welcome to my channel. Do all the things, all of them likes, like the video, comment, and subscribe. Today we are finally reviewing Marvel Midnight Suns. I know it's been a bit, but if you know me and you know how I do my reviews, I prefer to spend a lot of time with the game before doing a review. I don't like to do that whole little play like a few hours and then do a review and say what it is, didn't even beat it yet. Like, no, I like the deep dive. I like to make sure I do as much as I can within a game and beat it before I give you guys a review, so you guys can know that it's a true review with someone who has experience and not someone who just, you know, played the game for a little bit and now telling you if something is or isn't good, or you should or shouldn't buy it. So without further ado or further ado, let's review Marvel Midnight Suns. Let's get into it. Marvel Midnight Suns is a tactical role-playing game by developers of XCOM Firaxis. In this game, you use a card deck system for attacks with turn-based mechanics similar to that of XCOM games. Random little nugget: there's actually a comic book series from Marvel titled Marvel Midnight Suns, spelled with an O instead of you, like the game. Both the comic and this game have a supernatural team of superheroes take on supernatural enemies. In the comics, the team features Ghost Rider, Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze, Blade, and Morbius. The game, however, features a different lineup of team featuring Scarlet Witch, Sister Grimm, aka Nico Minoru, Magic, Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes, Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Captain America, Blade, Deadpool's DLC character, the Hulk, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and lastly, your player-created character, the Hunter, whom is the son of the main villain, the mother of demons herself, Lilith.
Sing my lullaby, Lilith be gone, Lilith be gone, Lilith be gone. Sing my lullaby, Lilith be gone, Lilith be gone, Lilith be gone.
The first thing you'll notice when I mention like that roster of names is a lot of those people are not really involved in Supernatural. Again, the whole thought process behind Midnight Suns is supernatural beings, but I definitely think just to sell copies they threw in, you know, the Avengers, because generally you could just have, you know, Scarlet Witch, Nico, Magic, maybe Doctor Strange, and then have Blade and your character. But to sell copies, they threw in, you know, a lot of the Avenger characters, threw in, you know, Wolverine, they threw in Deadpool's DLC, just to sell some copies, since people don't really, not the majority players of gamers out there, majority Marvel fans themselves don't even know who Nico is, or even Magic for that matter. But anyways, get back on track to talk about the main villain, Lilith. Lilith, with the assistance of Hydra, are trying to bring back the elder god Chthon, also known as the Midnight Sun himself. Chthon being the creator of the Dark World and the person who filled Wanda up with chaos magic. If you watched Doctor Strange movie, you've likely seen, you know, Wanda with the dark hole. That is an item that belongs to Chthon, and Chthon imbues Wanda with power. You and your team, with the help of your Aunt Sarah and the ghost of Agatha Harkness, are tasked with saving the world and preventing your mother from successfully summoning the demon elder god himself, Chthon. That's the brief summary of the plot and the background. Before we get into talking about the gameplay, I do want to take some time to talk about the acting in this game. The game features what I consider to be perfect casting. The female hunter is voiced by Elizabeth Grulin, who is an amazing voice actress. Most of you would be familiar with her as Trilla, the second sister in Star Wars: The Jedi Fallen Order. Matthew Mercer voices the male hunter. Matthew having numerous roles in video games and anime. Rick Pasquale voices Doctor Strange. Rick, from most gamers, would know him from the Mafia games as Vito. Michael Jai White voices Blade. Do I really need to mention to you guys who MJW is and what his roles are? Because y'all should know. So if you're considered a comic book fan or nerd, you should know who MJW is. You know, but for those who don't, for those who aren't really that keen on the nerd culture, he played the original Spawn back in the 90s movies as well. He's had numerous roles on like DC's CW shows where he played the Bronze Tiger. So he has a number of roles, very well known and well received, real popular black actor in the black community. Brian Bloom voices Captain America. Brian being another actor who should be well known to gamers with multiple roles in AAA titles, including playing BJ in the modern Wolfenstein games. He's Taskmaster in the Spider-Man game, and everyone's favorite dwarf in Dragon Age Varric Tetris. Erica Lindbeck voices one of my favorite characters in all of Marvel, Captain Marvel. Erica voices as Black Cat in Spider-Man games, and well, she voices in the numerous games as well. Yuri Lowenthal plays Spider-Man in this game, and it's actually who he plays in the other games, as he is Spider-Man in the Sony Spider-Man games. Very popular actor, well received, well loved. Josh Keaton voices Iron Man. You recognize his voice from Metal Gear Solid 3 as Ocelot. Then there's the Laura Bailey, who voices one of my favorite characters in Marvel, Ileana Rasputina Magic. I feel like I don't need to give you guys a background on Laura Bailey. She's a freaking legend. One of the big ones that I really enjoyed it was that they casted Lyrica Okano, who voices Nico, aka Sister Grimm, in this game, which is amazing because Lyrica played Nico in the live action TV series Runaways, which is a Marvel TV series that you can watch on Hulu. Very good. I'd recommend watching it. She's great in that, and she's great in here. Check out that show, please. Wolverine is voiced by Steve Blum, and God, once again, do I need to tell you guys who Steve Blum is? You know him from Toonami. He's the voice of Tom from Toonami. You know, he's Zeb in Star Wars Rebels. He's Grunt in Mass Effect. That's all you need to know when it comes to Steve Blum. Emily O'Brien voices Scarlet Witch. Recently, she played Gamora in a super good Guardians of the Galaxy game you need to check out if you haven't played it. She plays Amelie in Death Stranding, and she's Shastola in Realm Reborn for Final Fantasy. Giancarlo Sabaco, I apologize if I pronounced his last name wrong, but he voices Robbie Reyes, and I want to say this right now, I prefer Robbie Reyes or Johnny Blaze. The last actor I'll mention, and believe me, there are more good casting choices in this game, but the last one I'll mention is the main villain herself, Lilith. She's voiced by none other than FemShep herself, Jennifer Hale. This casting is phenomenal, with not just familiar names, but names that have been working on AAA titles within the same franchise, all the Marvel games. A lot of people on named have played in multiple Marvel games, not just this game. And yes, I dedicated a good portion of this video to actors because voice actors in gaming and anime are so underappreciated and so undervalued. We don't talk about them enough and the amazing job that they do. So this portion of this video is meant for them to pay some respect. All in all, this is a game that features a lot of dialogue and cutscenes, and that voice acting is amazing in this game. So let's talk about the game's gameplay. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is a turn-based tactical RPG. You embark on both main missions and side missions to slow down your mother's plans, ranging from capturing Hydra agents, stopping summoning circles, destroy devices, loot some caches, and just outright biting all the enemies. The kind of missions that you will get in this game. You do this while building a deck with each character. All cars can be upgraded with duplicates, what you get from RNG container coils, and by crafting them as well. All the characters have their own unique attacks, special abilities, and support cars where you gotta figure out which ones you want. What is the perfect combination that you're gonna have in your deck to make Ghost Rider a straight up beast and things like that. If your character sucks, chances are you just building that deck wrong. And outside of doing missions to improve your character, you can also improve them via training. The training is where you improve your character's overall, cards. So like I said, you can close duplicates. You go to this big training sword, and within that you use materials to make the cars better. As well, there's also a sparring, which once per day you and another hero can spar, and they will get buffs for missions, and you'll increase their level. There's also a hero ops option where you can send out an individual hero on missions that you don't really take part in. They just go out, air quotes on go out, because they kind of just like stand in the Abbey, which is like the hub area of the game, and they're doing their own mission without you playing as them. They come back with gifts that improves. Now, by doing these, they will return, increasing their level XP, and they'll also be a good way for you to get new cards for each individual character in the game. With all of this, there's numerous customizations in the game. However, all the customizations and all the gifts used to improve your friendship standing with each character and all the upgradables for your room use the exact same currency called gloss, which is to me a negative, because there's so much stuff in this game ranging from customizations, things like that, to room upgrades that use the exact same currency. And it's like, why do you even need to have a currency? It's like you got to grind your ass off to even unlock that stuff, and even after you unlock it, you can't even use it because you got to buy it to use it. It's just let it. If we wasted our time to unlock it, let us freaking just have the stuff instead of having to unlock it and then grind to get a weird in-game currency for a single player game to use the things we just unlocked. Notice I mentioned friendship standing. This game does feature a friendship system that doesn't really serve a purpose other than giving you something else to do other than the main quest in the game. And you also do this to unlock your character's ultimate ability and to get the exclusive Midnight Suns armor, the black and gold that is featured in trailers. Doing these increase your friendship with a hero. You gotta take them on missions with you, giving them a small XP and friendship, take them to what's known as havens, which is like going out on, not, I don't want to say a date essentially, but basically you just take them to like a exclusive area within the hub area known as the Abbey, as mentioned before, and then you also give them gifts in that process. But you can only give them gifts during things like havens and hangouts being a nighttime version of havens, where you take them out again like a date, or as it says, a hangout, and you give them a gift that way, all of which improves your relationship with those characters individually. I actually had a bug where I get side missions from heroes in the game, because the heroes will also give side quests like you might get like Wolverine saying, hey, increase your friendship level with Deadpool, or hey, take Bruce Banner out on a hangout. You're getting things like that from other heroes in the game. Sometimes you wouldn't even you get those missions, but not even get the option to do those things. Like, these missions usually last for like 4 days, aka you get 4 in-game days to do them. And I've had a bug where it will tell me to do something like that, tell me to go do a hangout, and I would never get the hangout option for that character within those 4 days. Really annoying. I'm not sure if it's a bug or not. It could be intentional, I don't know, but it's something that's very annoying. Speaking of negatives, let's might as well let's go ahead and talk about the negatives in the game that I personally experienced. And obviously this is my review, so it's my opinion. It's also about the negatives. The game is this game is far from perfect or polished. The game for me crashes at least once a day. Like, I'm not even joking. Whenever I play the game, which is damn near every single day, at least once a day, not at max, at least once a day, the game crashes every single day. I have moments in the game where whenever I will complete a mission, the game will keep crashing. And since this game auto saves at moments like completing a mission, so right before mission ends, it will just reload to like before mission ended, and then it'll crash again. So I would have to relaunch the entire game, relaunch from a different save before the mission, in order to get out of this crashing loop that will happen. And then sometimes it'll still crash again. Almost like this happened. It's ridiculous. And when I say this game crashes a lot for me, just know it's frequent. Like, I'm not going to put like a number on it, because again, it is every day, and that's at least, I've had days where it would crash like 5 times in one play session to where I just stop playing entirely. There's also seems to be a bug with Wanda, where the game would say she wants to talk to you and shut the icon for talking to her, or having an icon for hang out with her, but she be in her room and the door be closed. You can't get in, you can't knock on the door, you can't open the door, it's just closed, and you're not allowed to talk to her, even though the game's giving you this option to talk to her, or telling you go talk to Wanda. There's also a bug during the card loot missions, where sometimes none of the enemies will have the cards you need. Like, generally when you do these missions, there's a red card, blue card, and yellow card. You gotta kill the enemy who has those cards to unlock the loot caches within the mission. So sometimes you will get into one of those missions and none of the enemies will even have any of those cards. And sometimes you'll get to only one enemy has those cards. Very annoying, and it just kind of ruins the mission, because if you don't open the way that this mission works, there's a timer. If you don't open the loot box in time, it explodes, you get nothing. So you have to use the cards to open them before they explode. So imagine how annoying it is when none of the enemies even have the cards to begin with. There's also a bug for hero ops, where the game won't let you send any of your heroes out on an op. This might not be a bug, because whenever you hover over their names, it says hero not allowed, which kind of implies that maybe there's like a different stipulation for the mission. But the game doesn't tell you what that is. It doesn't explain to you why the heroes are allowed. Sometimes there's heroes who aren't high enough level, and it'll tell you not a high enough level. But sometimes when I do it, for every single hero that I have who are all maxed out 25s across, which is maxed up on the game for each hero, it will say not allowed. And it's like, this doesn't make any sense. Explain why they're not allowed, or is this a bug where you just won't let me do it? This game also isn't the prettiest game. The graphics are pretty outdated for a next-gen title with a price tag at 70 bucks. This is a full price $70 game, and the game does not warrant that price at all. It's not very long, it's very unpolished. Graphically looks like a mid-cycle last-gen title, but wants full price. This game looks and performs like a $40 game, even gameplay-wise, even story-wise. It's a good story, but you feel like you're basically playing a $40 game that you spend an extra 30 on because that's the state of modern gaming. Also, when you do New Game Plus, you have to rebuy all the cosmetic things that you bought in your first playthrough. So if you spent your time grinding your ass off, getting as much gloss as you could to buy every single thing that for the like buy every single thing for the cosmetics and for your room upgrades, if you do New Game Plus, you gotta rebuy all those things, and the game does not reimburse you that gloss. You gotta remake all that gloss that you have in your first playthrough, and then rebuy all those things, which is terrible. So let's get into some positives, because that was a pretty harsh segment. I did go pretty hard on the game when it comes to the negatives, but I will say this: the game is not awful. You know, aside of what I just said, you shouldn't avoid this game. This isn't a game that's really bad. It's not a game that's awful. It's not something that you shouldn't touch. Outside of the issues that I've mentioned in the outdated visuals, it is a fun game. The story is really good. As I mentioned before, the acting is phenomenal. The gameplay is fun. If you're into these kind of games, at least, if you're not into turn-based games, you're not into like the card-based deck style games, it ain't for you. But if you're into Marvel, you're into XCOM, it's a really good game. You should try it out. The game is pretty addicting and easy to enjoy. Yes, the combat and missions can get pretty repetitive and tedious, but the game executes all its mechanics very well, making it a pretty solid game. Overall, I think Marvel Midnight Suns is a solid game. People should wait for sales though. I don't think this game's worth 70 bucks. So save your money and wait for it to go on sale. Whether you're into Firaxis games or you're a Marvel fan, there is something for you to enjoy, but wait for it to go on sale, because it is a good game, but it's not worth 70 bucks. I cannot recommend you guys a $70 game if it's not worth that price. There are games that's worth that price. I know we're moving into this time period of games where that's become the standard. There are some games that's worth that price. This is not worth 70 bucks. So with all of that said, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Do all the things the algorithm likes. Like the video, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitch, link being in the box below. I've been your boy, Anubis Gamer Archer. Hope you all enjoyed this review. I'll see you when I see you. Y'all stay safe. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Be cons one another. I'm out of here. Deuces.